What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Today we're here to talk about Season 3, Episode 13, Monster. We are at the point in the Clone Wars, you guys, where this show just kicks it into a whole new gear. We're at that point in Season 3. We are in the thick of it, and I am so excited to be talking with you guys about this episode today. If there was ever a time to get on board with this series, it is right now. So make sure you guys are liking this video and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. We recently passed 1,500 subscribers here on this channel, which is absolutely incredible, and we are on the road to getting to 2,000. Thank you all so much for your support. Now, let's start talking about this episode. This episode was directed by Kyle Dunleavy and written by Katie Lucas. The cookie for this episode: evil is not born, it is taught. Now, in case you missed last week's episode, which I would definitely recommend you go back and check out, but for now, intro guy, let us know what happened last week. A bid for revenge. Betrayed and left for dead by Count Dooku, Savage Ventress has begun a deadly game with her former master, launching a secret assassination attempt against him, with the help of her kin, the mysterious Night Sisters. Deceived into thinking the Jedi were behind the recent attack, Dooku has traveled across the galaxy to enlist the Night Sisters in his quest for vengeance. Thank you, intro guy. And yeah, I mean, this is part 2 to this Night Sisters arc. This episode starts out with Dooku arriving on Dathomir. Him and Talzin have a chat, mostly about Darth Maul. Yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, it just sucks he kind of died when he did, you know? I did find it funny when Talzin was like, our loyalty is only reserved for each other, and the only reason I'm aiding you in your quest to find a new assassin is because long ago you chose to help me. But after I'm done helping you, I hope we never see each other again. Damn, Talzin, that's harsh. Like, I know it's Dooku and all, but that's still kind of harsh. And Dooku's just sat there like, no, as you wish. But then after Dooku leaves the planet, you know, we see Ventress show up and chatting with Talzin. Ventress at this point, is still very much on the evil side of things when it comes to her and the dark side and this whole quest for vengeance. She's still on a dark path. It's just kind of been thrown off course a little bit, you know? So Ventress travels to the Night Brothers village, and this is like a place where, George had said that like Maul was from. These guys are like Maul's brothers. So Ventress is like, all right, we're gonna have 3 tests. Holy crap, I'm just realizing that she also gave Omega 3 tests in the Bad Batch. Obviously those are much different, but I've noticed a trend now. The first test is, I'm basically gonna kick all your freaking butts. Through all of this, by the way, I should also point out that, like, the 2 main Zabraks that we get to meet are Savage and Farrell, 2 brothers that seem to care about each other. Because, like, you see Farrell get hurt, and then instead of Savage going to attack Ventress, he goes to help his brother. Test 2 is, you must see what cannot be seen, which once again does make me question, why did we not see this coming that Dooku was gonna end up kicking your guys' butts when he has that same training? Ventress is out here with this, like, giant freaking axe on a chain and sitting there, like, beheading people, and it's like, what the heck? But it comes down to Savage and Farrell for test 3. And this is where we get this incredible theme by Kevin Kiner. They use this theme several times throughout the Clone Wars, and they're gonna foreshadow, they're gonna end up using it in the next episode. It is such a good theme. Like, this honestly is like my favorite theme that came out of this show. It's so good. But the fight eventually comes down to Savage and Ventress, because Savage says, as long as I live, you will not harm him. By the way, shout out to Clancy Brown, voice of Savage Opress, absolute legend. And you really do find yourself, at least I did anyway, rooting for Savage. Because once again, I would like to reiterate, like, I love this story. Like, as a kid growing up with this, I was so in love with this story that we were seeing. Like, I think I liked the first episode of this, last week's episode better, but this was still a good one. And through it all, like, I'm enjoying this story that's being played out, but I don't find myself rooting for Ventress yet, like, fully, like, obviously I would choose her over Dooku, but it's like, okay, but I also I don't think Ventress has that good of intentions either. Whereas here, it's like, all right, I'm just seeing a dude who's, like, trying to look out for his brother and, like, just trying to protect him. Like, Savage seems like a chill dude. So it's like, okay, yeah, no, go Savage. But Ventress definitively beats him. But because Savage had said to spare Farrell that he would go as her champion. And then we get the Night Sisters using their magic on Savage, and it ends up making him super buff. Man looked like he was packing steroids aplenty.
Super Savage Opress is slightly less extreme than he was at the design phase. When Darren Marshall designed it, we just kept pushing him. We were like, no, make it worse, make it more insane, just really make him huge.
Because ultimately what this whole thing is, right, is Savage, this whole idea that Savage has become a pawn in this game between Dooku and Ventress. And Dave brings up the question, like, does Ventress see that she's doing to Savage what Dooku did to her? Even if it is, I don't necessarily think that she cares. Because again, like, the dark side is always like the path to destruction. No good comes from it. For Ventress, the only thing that's on her mind right now is, I want to kill Dooku. That's her whole motivation right now. And then to make this even more effed up, the Night Sisters bring in Farrell, and they make Savage kill him. This was dark stuff, man. And also really sad.
Brother, please!
You big weakling.
Why? Answer the dark side of the Force.
Hate will feed you. Never sympathize with the enemy. Not even for a moment.
Yes, sister.
Oh yeah, they also give Savage this really cool looking, like, staff blade thing. It was really cool. But then comes time for Dooku to meet his new apprentice in Savage. Dooku seems pretty happy with the results, but I love the shot of Savage kneeling before Dooku, but they don't show Dooku in that shot of him kneeling. They show Talzin, which I thought was like a really nice touch. I don't know if that was meant to be that way or not, but like the whole idea of, well, who is Savage's master really? Like, who is he actually serving? It's not actually Dooku. It's meant to be Talzin and Ventress, you know? So I thought that was well done. And then we get Dooku being like, look, Mother Talzin speaks very highly of you, but first I need you to do this mission for me as like a little test. He's like, you're going to go to Devron, you're going to take this temple and claim it for the Separatists. During this battle, he runs through a bunch of droids, but then demolishes a whole mess of the clones. But then there's two random Jedi there, a master and apprentice. The Master puts up a little bit of a fight, but is taken down quite easy. And they're also playing this theme again, by the way, the one that I was talking about before. And then the Apprentice runs at him and immediately gets taken out. I also like that you see Savage with the yellow eyes in this, like, you know, the Sith eyes. Very good. And then the end of this episode I thought was, like, very interesting, because Dooku's, you know, on Sereno with Savage, and he said, you've done well, Savage. I will have much use for you. And says, like, I will teach you the ways of the dark side. The same thing that he says to Ventress in the last episode, you know, when we saw that flashback. And he says soon, your powers will rival that of the great Sith Darth Maul. That's, once again, a shame that he's no longer around. And then Dooku says, we will even be more powerful than Lord Sidious and will rule the galaxy together. So he is planning to betray Sidious. It's really interesting, because we kept asking last week, right? Like, okay, what are Dooku's intentions? What are Ventress's intentions? What's everybody's intentions involved here? It's like, it's constantly the Sith are always trying to betray one another, and these two episodes are proof of it. You know, one of the things I really liked about the first Force Unleashed game, which is like my favorite Star Wars game of all time, when it looks like Vader ends up betraying Starkiller, but then he's like, no, the Emperor wanted you dead. I brought you here to be rebuilt. Obviously, Vader had other intentions in mind. But if Vader would have actually went through with that and been like, oh yeah, Master, see, I killed him. And then like, maybe if like Vader secretly trained him, you know, behind the scenes or whatever, and like Sidious didn't know anything about it. And then the next thing Sidious knows, like, oh crap, this dude's still alive and these two are both about to kill me, you know? Like, that could have been a cool story. Dooku could have done that with Ventress, I guess, if he really wanted, but now he's given all these promises to Savage, and it's like, man, dude has his priorities. But yeah, that's gonna, I feel like, wrap us up on my discussion for this week, you guys. I don't think I have as much to say about last week. Of the 3 episodes in this arc, this one's probably my least favorite, but once again, I still enjoyed it. I don't feel like last week I felt like we had a ton of discussion points. Next week, we are definitely going to have a lot of discussion points. But this one was more just like, okay, you know, we're still, you know, we've got this middle part here. We're building up the story. We're introducing Savage Opress, who ends up becoming a big part of the Clone Wars, and we're continuing to move things forward for Ventress. So it's like there was nothing bad. I just don't have as much to say. So with that, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. Next week, we are going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 14, the final episode to this Night Sisters arc, Witches of the Mist. Thank you all so much for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Forgive me, my master.
That is not the way of the dark side.
Ventress.
That's no way to treat your apprentice. I should know.